big part of leadership is having what you mentioned earlier, emotional intelligence. And there's no man on the planet in history who's had more EQ than Rasul. We mentioned earlier code switching. You mentioned the schools, how you can speak to God as, for our listeners out there, Goda means someone who's Caucasian, white. You mentioned how you can speak to everyone. Who's the best example of that? Rasul. He could speak to the kings, he could write letters to the kings, you know, dictate the letters.
He can approach the non-believers, he can approach the believers.
Absolutely, and he could speak to people like Bilal, Julaybib, you know, radiallahu anhu, all these Sahaba who didn't even have a lineage. So from the Quraysh standards, they were the lowest of the low. They were Ethiopian slaves who didn't even have a lineage. He could speak to these people who were outcasts, so to speak. He could speak to the leaders of the Quraysh, of Abu Lahab. And you know his uncles who were in charge. He could speak to all these people, and you know, and when he entered the room, he had that charisma, and he carried himself in a way. At the same time, though, whenever there was a incident in Medina, an incident where there was a loud noise, very late at night, and he was the first one to be seen.
Yeah.
He was out first.
Yeah.
Leader leads by example.
Yeah.
He's in the trenches. They said when Sahaba were hungry, he'd be the most hungry. And he'd always be the one getting his hands dirty the most. Our leaders now sit in their offices, and this is not leadership, management. This is management, isn't it?
Yes,
leadership is getting your hands dirty.
Yeah.